graphs where that y equal to a sin x plus q and y equal to a cos x plus q. I refreshed you this on Monday. For tan, it was y equal to a tan x plus q. Now, those three are the general forms from grade 10, okay? And I also introduced you to the it was a recap rather of the basic trigonometric functions. Because every graph that you're going to encounter of sine, cos, and tan, it originates from the basic graphs that I spoke about on Monday. And you were introduced to them in grade 10. Okay, now in this grade, we are going to introduce another set of general equations that involves period shift. Okay, the first one is going to be y equal to sine x, sorry, sine bx. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to tell you what that b is. Y equal to sine bx, then we have got y equal to cos bx, and y equal to tan bx. Okay, now in grade 10, that b, which is the coefficient of x, it was always equal to 1. Now it's going to change. Okay, it's going to change. It can be 2. In most cases, b obviously is going to be greater than 0 and it will be an integer, but it can also be a common fraction. So this b is called the period number. And that is not here on this note here. B is the period number. That b, it tells you how many sine, cosine, and tan curves can fit within a domain of 0 to 360. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. The b tells you how many sine, cosine, tangent curves can fit within an interval of 0 to 360. Okay? If 2 curves can fit, then b will be 2. If only 1 can fit, then b will be 1, which was the grade 10 scenario. In grade 10, the b was always equal to 1. That's why from 0 to 360, your sine, cosine curves, only 1 would fit. For tan, only 1 would, you actually have 2 curves. For tan, 2 curves within 0 to 360. Okay? Now, it's going to change. Okay? Depending on the b. The b is called the period number. Now, the procedure that you have to use to sketch graphs like that, okay? First thing, you need to determine the period of the graph. Now, there's a formula to do that. The formula is, I'm going to simplify for you here, its period is equal to, for sine and cos, its period is equal to 360 degrees over b. This is for sine and cos. Sine and cosine. Okay? The period is no longer exactly 360. It can change depending on the b value. Okay? So for sine and cos, your period is going to be equal to 360 over b. You have to memorize this formula. Okay? The period is equal to 360 over b. That's for sine and cos. For tan, for tangent, please, I'm writing them in full. For tangent, the period is going to be 180 degrees over b. Okay? So when you get a graph of tan, from now on, you must check what the value of b is, which is the coefficient of that x. If it's not 1, then you need that formula for you to be able to carry on if you want to sketch it. Okay? Then, once you know the period, you know for any of the 3 graphs, the next thing now, before you start sketching, you need to know what is the step that you are going to use when you are sketching in terms of the calculator. What step are you going to put in your calculator? If you are going to draw a table of values, what step are you going to use for the x values? Now, to get the step, okay, I'm going to simplify it, not like this. So the step on the calculator is given by the formula period over 4. So let me use the right color. It's going to be period. So the step on the calculator is going to be period divided by 4. So if your period is not correct, then you get the step wrong. So you have to be very careful here. Okay? Your step on your calculator is going to be period divided by 4. So this is the procedure that you must follow from now on. Okay? For any graph of the form y equal to sine bx, y equal to cos bx, y equal to tan bx. Okay? Can I carry on? Let's move on to an example. Now, the best way, we have to sketch two graphs on the same system of axes for you to understand the concept of period shift. Okay, so the period shift, let's sketch the graphs of, let's start with a simple one. Okay, I'll call the first one f of x, so that's example. Let's sketch f of x equal to sine x. For now, let us sketch it from 0 to 360. Let's sketch them from 0 to 360. F of x equal to sine x and g of x equal to sine 2x. Okay, we are sketching both between 0 degrees and 360 degrees. Okay? Right, so you need to take out your calculator. Okay? Fortunately, some of your calculators, you can put both functions at once. Now, if you have got a calculator like that, which can allow you to put two functions, then it's going to be easy for you here. Right? So, first thing, I'm going to do my table. Right? I want you to know that the steps are not the same. Okay? For f of x, the period is going to be 360. For g of x, the period will be 360 divided by 2. So you need to be very careful when you're using your calculator. So for f of x, the period, that is p, is equal to 360 degrees. For g of x, p is going to be 360 degrees over 2, because the b is 2, so you get 180 degrees. Okay? Which means your step for the first one, it will be 90, of course, but for g of x, the step will be 180 over 4, which gives you 45 degrees. Okay? Now, the good thing is, you can use the step for g of x, which is 45 degrees. So if you're using your calculator, you can just use the step of 45 for both of them, which means you end up having lots of x values here. Okay? Or you can just do it one by one, which will take you long. So my suggestion, you've got x there, that's your x. This is going to be f of x, and that will be g of x. You are going to have lots of values. Okay, so if you start from x equal to 0, sine 0 is 0. Okay, for both of them, they'll give you 0 for sine 0. Then, when you've got 45 degrees, okay, sine 45 is 1 over square root of 2, sine 90 is 1. Okay, then you get to 90. Okay, use your calculator. Use your calculator. Okay? 1. Sine 90 is 1. Sine 180 is going to give you 0. Okay? Then, when x is 145, sine 145 is going to give you 1 over root 2. Okay? No. 2, sorry, 135. This is 135. So 1 over root n, that will be sine 270. 270, this should give you minus 1. Right? What's sine 270?
Yeah, so it's -1.
Okay. Now, do you see that? Can I have your test? Do you see that if you're using a calculator doing it manually, it takes long? Yeah, if you're in a test, you get stuck. You use this method here. That's why you need to master your calculator. Okay, because there are no marks for doing this. You're wasting time. That's why you need to be a master of your what? Your calculator. So my suggestion, as you can see, now the grade 11 graphs are more complex. They are not like the grade 10 ones. The grade 10 ones, they were very simple. You could have very few values of x and then you could maybe do a table and carry on. Now with the grade 11 ones, you can have more values of x. The number of x values, if it increases, it will make you take longer to find the y values. And if you have got two functions, then it's going to be worse. Okay? So you need to be a master of your what? Of your calculator. I think that. Okay. So where are we starting? We're starting from x equal to 0. Okay? You are ending at 360 for now. Your step, use 45. Okay? When you do that, it gives you that. Okay? It gives you lots of values. There are about 10 in total. Actually 9. Okay? Your second column, that's the y values for f of x. The last column, those are the y values for g of x. Okay? Now, I want you to know that here, instead of plotting points where you've got 315 and so on, it's not necessary, but if you want, you can concentrate on critical points, like 0 degrees, 90, 180, 270, and 360. Concentrate on those critical points when you are sketching. Okay? Are you following? Yes. Can you draw your Cartesian plane? I'm gonna use it now to sketch. So if you wanna sketch f of x, obviously we are starting from x equal to 0. Okay? We are starting from f of x equal to 0. So if I use that color, this is a critical point. Okay? That's a critical point. And then this one is also a critical point. And then that one is a critical point. And 270. You have to know your basic graph. And then it goes like that. And it stops here. Okay? Then you use freehand. Okay? That's f of x. Right? Now, g of x, since b is 2, you're supposed to have 2 of them. Now, you have got a table of values. Okay? For both of them, their amplitude is 1. The next one, when x is 0, y is 0. Okay? When x is 45 degrees, y is going to be 1 there. So you are going to have a point here. And when x is, and then when x is equal to 90 degrees, so it goes like that, then you are going to end up having, so we've got 45 degrees here. Okay? Then when x is 90, we're going to end up getting that point there, like that. Can you check for me?
Yeah.
When x is 90, what's the answer? Y is 0, which is this point. Okay? Then when x is 135, you are going to have negative 1. Then when x is equal to 180, you are going to have 0. Then it goes on. So from here we have 225. We are going to have x equal to, so y equal to 1. Then at 270. Then at 315, it will be somewhere there. And then at 360, it stops. So when you draw it, looks like this. Just bear with me there. You have to practice how to draw. So it should look like that. So then you label the black one, that's g of x. And then the blue one, that's f of x equal to sine x. Okay? So this is sine 2x. Okay, now if I were to ask you, I'm sure you can see, do you see that there are two sine curves that fit between 0 to 360 for g of x? You see it goes up, then down, that's a complete curve, sine curve, then a second one. So the fact that we have got two sine curves between 0 to 360, that's the reason why we have got that 2. Okay?
So what is the curve then?
For f of x equal to sine x, it only one fits, which is based on the basic graph. Well, that's the basic graph. Only one basic graph fits between 0 to 360. If the b is 2, means you are going to have two sine curves between 0 to 360. If b is 3, you are going to have 3 of them, and so on. So the b, which is the period number, it tells you how many sine curves will fit within a domain of 0 to 360. Okay? Then, if you want here, we can also have some questions. You can do some interpretation here. Okay? I think maybe it's better I start that now. So, first thing, let's write down some key things. I'm not worried about sine x, so that's a grade 10 function. So, we'll start with, for g of x. For g of x, the period is equal to 360 over 2, which is 180 degrees. Okay? That's very important for you to know. The amplitude is the coefficient of sine 2x, so it's equal to 1. Okay? The range, or rather I'll start with the maximum. The maximum is 1. The minimum is minus 1. Then your range, since the minimum is minus 1, the maximum is 1, it means your range will be y is an element from y equal to minus 1 to 1. Okay? Then we can have further questions. Like, for example, for what values of x, okay? For what values of x are the graphs equal? For example, for what values of x are the graphs equal? Okay, you can get a question saying, for what values of x is f of x equal to g of x?
Sorry, sir?
For what values of x are the two graphs equal?
0 and 360.
You have 0,
Yeah,
so you go to the point where they intersect. Now, unfortunately, the way that I have drawn it and the way that you drew it, you won't be able to get the exact value here. So here we can get it's 0, but we don't know the exact value here, but it's closer to 60. We have got 180 here. We have got another value close to 300. and also have a 360. So there are 5 values where the two graphs are equal. Okay? The graphs are equal where they intersect.
Why we write that down, sir?
Okay? So the question will be, for what values of x is f of x equal to gx? Now you can also use your knowledge of equations. Okay? Remember, what is your f of x? It's sine x. What's your g of x? Sine 2x. Then you bring in the general solution. Okay?
Bring it on.
Right? Now, if you bring in the general solution here, it is up to you to decide, do you want to make this x your reference angle, or you want to make that 2x your reference angle? Okay? If you make the right your reference angle, then you end up having x equal to 2x plus k times 360, where k is an element of z. There is a connection between trig equations and trigonometric graphs. That needs to sink inside so that there is a connection. That's why we have to do trig equations first, together with the general solution, before graphs. Okay? So when you simplify, remember this will be your reference angle. That will be what? Your reference angle. Then you take that 2x to the left. If you take it to the left, you end up getting minus x equal to k times 360 degrees, where k is an integer. Okay. Are you following what I just did? No. Hey, can you pay attention for forget about what just happened? We are in the lesson now.
Yeah, no blessing.
Okay. So you get minus x equal to k times 360. Let me carry on at the bottom here. Now, here, that's your first general solution, this one. But we need to make the x the negative, positive, so it becomes x equal to, when you divide, you get minus k times 360.
The order of business of today is going to be block E to start with. Inca, remember to watch your social distancing, to keep your masks on all the time, not loitering in the corridors, and 3 p.m. getting the latest attendance so locals to be evacuated from. Have an amazing afternoon.
All right, please wait. I need to find the second general solution. When you go home, you carry on, you find all 5 values. Wait, because I'm going to check it in the next lesson. I'm going to check in the next. Since I use this as my reference angle, this 2x, I need to subtract this 2x from 180 degrees because sine is positive in the first and second part. So the second general solution, I start from there, it will be x equal to 180 degrees minus 2x plus k times 360 degrees, where k is an integer. Then you take that 2x to the left, you get 3x equal to 180 degrees plus k times 360, where k is an integer. Divide both sides by each term by 3. So you end up getting x equal to 60 degrees plus k times 120 degrees, where k is an integer. Okay, so it is most likely that this intersection is at what? X equal to 60 degrees. I can see it from this. Okay, so you carry on and find all 5 values. There are 5 of them between 0 and 360. I need to see those answers. You don't need to take a picture. You don't need